Nuke has two ways of manually creating mats. The simplest is called the Roto Node. To get a Roto Node, you can right-click and select Draw Roto, or you can hit the O hotkey. O for Roto. So I have an image of a shark here. Let's say that we wanted to cut the shark out from the background. I'm hitting A to toggle the alpha. You can see that the shark has no alpha channel of its own or mask. As soon as you drop the Roto Node down, it's ready to go. By default, it selects the Bezier tool, and you can start clicking and dragging to create Bezier knots. So if I click and drag, it creates a smooth Bezier. And I can control the handles as I'm dragging out. This is a lot like Illustrator or the mask tool in Photoshop. If I'd like to create a cusped or sharp knot, I can just click without dragging. Click, drag. Click, drag. Click, drag. Click, drag. Now I'm just not even worrying about the fins right now, and I'll show you why in a moment. Click, drag. Click, drag. Click. Click, drag. Click, drag. Click, drag. Click, drag. Click. Click, drag. Click, drag. So now to close the shape, you click on the first knot that you created. Now you have a closed shape. So let's look at the Roto Node and see what it's generated. I'm clicking on the Roto and hitting 2 to attach the second view of the viewer. By default, it generates an alpha channel, so it's only injecting or only creating paint or image into the alpha channel. So I'm going to hit A to show the alpha channel. So there we have just the shape of the shark. I'm going to hit 2 to toggle back, or 1 rather, to toggle back to the shark, and A again to look at the RGB. So I missed the fins, I cut them all off. But if I select the Bezier tool again, or any of the other shapes, B-spline or Bezier, I can start drawing again, and I can create as many shapes as I like. The Roto Node will automatically composite these all together inside itself and then output an appropriate alpha channel. So let's finish this fin here. If I'd like to add another knot to a shape, I can hold down Control and Alt and click on the line and add a new knot, even to a shape that's already done. So let's look at this Roto again. I'm hitting 2 and then A to preview. You can see that the Roto Node has composited them together. I'm going to finish up making this shape really quick here. And you can see by the miracle of time lapse that I have completed all the fins. And I have one shape for each fin and one for the body. Nuke has happily composited them all together for me. So I have a mat and I have a shark, but they're not working together yet to do anything. So there's a couple of ways that I can put my mat into action here. I can either use a node that expects a mat as input. So let's say that I wanted to put the shark over this background here. I could use the KeyMix node. And it expects a mask and foreground A and a background B. And that will composite the shark over the background. Or I could inject the mask or the alpha into the image itself. Now, the shark had no alpha of its own originally. So if I inject a new alpha here, or rather draw some new alpha into it using the Roto Node, it will now have an alpha channel. If this had had its own alpha channel to begin with, I might have had to use this button here, replace, to force the output of the Roto Node to completely replace the alpha input of this. So now the shark has an alpha embedded in it, but it's not doing anything for the shark. I'm hitting the M key to preview that. There's the mask overlay. So if I want to merge the shark with the background, I need to use a merge node that understands that the shark here is in a raw or unpremultiplied state. The merge mode that expects an unpremultiplied input is called mat. I'm going to drop down a merge with the M key, and then I'm going to select mat as my merge mode. Now if I hover over this operation tab, you can see a cheat sheet will pop up that shows us the math for all of the different merge modes. If you go down the list and find mat, you'll see it says unpremultiplied over. It's expecting a raw input with an alpha channel embedded. So I'm going to connect B for the background and A for the foreground, and we'll view it here by hitting 1. Now the shark isn't positioned very well, and it doesn't look very interesting. So let's move the shark using a transform node. I'm going to view it here at the roto and drop down a transform by hitting T to move the pivot point of the transform to a more interesting place. Let's say the business end of the shark. I'm going to hold down Control and drag that handle. So now everything will transform about the widget here. So I'll scale down the shark a little because he was way too big. And now I'm going to view at this merge node by hitting 1 again. We can see the result of everything that we're doing. If we'd like to animate the shark, we can go to frame 1 here, and we will set keyframe by right-clicking, set key. I want the rotation to animate too, so I'm going to right-click, set key, and now the shark's translation and rotation are keyframeable. So those are the basics of using Roto to cut out a static image or to create a static mat. But what about moving footage? We're going to cover that in the next section.